So you're a DoorDash driver, you're staring at your earnings and you're wondering, where did the money go? You're putting the same hours in, you're burning the same gas, but your bank account is telling a much sadder story. It's a hugely frustrating feeling watching your pay just drop while the price of literally everything is just going up. And you start asking yourself, is it me? Is my area just dead? Or is something bigger going on here? Well, you're not alone. And you're not imagining things. For a lot of drivers, making good money on DoorDash has gotten way harder. But why? Today, we're going to get into the real reasons your earnings might be taking a hit in 2025. We'll cover everything from customer fees and tipping culture to the flood of new drivers on the road. But we're not just here to list the problems. We're going to give you real practical strategies to fight back, protect your income, and dash smarter, not harder. First up, let's talk about something you can't control, but definitely feel the impact of every single day, and that is rising customer fees. Think about it from the customer side. They open up the app, they don't just see the price of the food, they get hit with a delivery fee, a service fee, maybe even a small order fee. By the time DoorDash is done, the total cost has jumped way up. In some cases, it has nearly doubled. So, what does this have to really do with you? Everything. When a customer sees their $20 burrito suddenly cost $35 before they even tip, they get what's called fee fatigue. They see that big final number and are way less likely to add a good tip and or any tip at all that comes directly out of your earnings. Since tips can make up a huge chunk of your income, sometimes 40 to 60%, this is a direct blow to your earnings. On top of that, these high costs can make people order less often in the first place, meaning fewer pings for all of us and less orders. It's a chain reaction. Higher fees for them lead to fewer orders and smaller tips. Remember when signing up to be a Dasher felt a little more exclusive? Yeah, those days are over. The DoorDash's promise to be your own boss has pulled in millions of Dashers. And in 2023 alone, DoorDash reported over 7 million different individuals delivered on the platform. How crazy is that? Now, they aren't all driving at the same time, but that's a massive increase from just a few years ago. While DoorDash is getting more orders, the number of drivers has grown even faster. This creates a classic case of supply and demand working against us. Almost every market is oversaturated with drivers. This doesn't even account for all those illegal accounts, bot accounts, shared accounts. More dashers are on the road, all fighting for the same limited number of orders. It feels like a game of like musical chairs, but for delivery pings. When a good order pops up, you're not just up against a few other drivers, you're competing with a whole fleet and crowd of them. This means more time sitting in your car waiting, which kills your average hourly rate, wastes your time. DoorDash doesn't put a cap on drivers because they want someone ready for every single order. That's their thing, get every order delivered, which is great for them, but for you, it just means a smaller piece of the pie. All right, I want to hear from you. What is the biggest change that you've seen in your area? Is it the army of new drivers or is it something else? Drop a comment below. Okay, let's get into DoorDash pay model itself because honestly, it feels like they're trying to solve a puzzle. Your pay comes from three pieces: base pay, promotions, and tips. The problem is two of those can change at any second. First, base pay. DoorDash says that it can be anywhere from $2 to $10 based off of time, distance, and how desirable an order is. And desirable is just a fancy word that means other drivers kept declining it. So DoorDash had to bump up the pay, but let's be real, Many drivers have noticed that their average base pay is just shrinking, and the sad little $2 offer is showing up way too often. Then you've got promotions like peak pay. These aren't rewards for being a good dasher. They're just bait that DoorDash uses to get more drivers on the road when it's busy. As soon as there's enough drivers, magically, no more peak pay. It's gone. It only lasts an hour, maybe 2 hours. You can't build a steady income on something that just kind of goes away within a couple of hours. They're always testing new pay schemes, but it often feels like they're just shifting the goalpost to see how little they can get away with paying its drivers. It makes it almost impossible to predict your income and feel any kind of financial stability. Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's get to the most important part. What can you actually do about this? You're not powerless. If you get strategic, you can push back and take control over your income. First up, work smarter, not longer. You have to figure out the absolute best times to work in your market. This is usually lunch between like 11 and 2, depending on your market, and also dinner rush. Sometimes it's 4:30 to 8, sometimes it's 5 to 9. You need to know what it is in your own market. Driving around during dead periods is just honestly a fast way to lose money and gas and your own time. Get to know your town's rhythm. Maybe Wednesdays are dead, but Sunday afternoons are surprisingly busy. You need to know the patterns of your own areas and work those peak times. And then track your earnings and find what your golden hours are. Next, get ruthless about playing the DoorDash game. You either play it or you don't. So it's either you use the rewards program to benefit you, and that includes being a platinum driver. Yes, it is hard for part-time dashers to get on because you have to complete those 100 deliveries. But it's good for two things. Dash now, which means you can come, go, and don't have to worry about a schedule. But order volume. Order volume gives you more orders, which gives you more money. And that's how you make some of the money that you can. Also, you have to multi-app. If you're serious about this, you can't be just loyal to one company. Sign up for Uber Eats, Grubhub, or whatever else is popular in your area. Running a couple of apps at once, especially during slow times, cuts down on your own downtime and gives you more chances to snag great orders, not just DoorDash. When DoorDash is dead, Uber Eats might be booming. It gives you options so you're not just stuck in a parking lot just waiting on one app to send you a ping. Finally, treat this like a business, because it is. Track your expenses, like get a mileage tracker app that actually helps you keep track of your miles, keep track of your expenses. Why? Because you have to know what your true profit margin is to see how much you're actually pocketing and profiting. Look, there is no doubt that being a successful driver in 2025 is tougher than it ever used to be. You're dealing with higher customer fees, a ton of competition, a pay model that feels like a moving target in your own rising costs. It's easy to get frustrated and feel like quitting. But just understand, these challenges is the first step to beating them. You can push back by being strategic and knowing your value. Stick to the busy hours, play the DoorDash game or not, and run other apps. You have to be your own CEO of your one-person delivery business. Listen, the DoorDash world is always changing, and the only way to win is to adapt to DoorDash changes. Stay smart, stay strategic, and keep sharing info with other drivers. We're all in this together. We're all working the DoorDash app, and we're trying to make the system work for us. So let me know, have you been experiencing less earnings on DoorDash, and what do you think is the leading cause of it? Let me know in the comments. We talked a lot about losing money. Well, if you take these types of DoorDash orders, they definitely won't make you more money. Learn more over here on what orders you shouldn't take in this one up next.